Hey everybody, welcome back to the Lit Medallion. There was no joy for Mighty Casey at the bat, for the Mudville Hens, Toledo Hens, whatever they are, right? You know the story, right? Just didn't work out for our Roadrunners this time. The Roadrunners let it slip away. The Cougars went and grabbed it. Either statement is absolutely accurate for that game. Now, before I get into what I think happened in the game and what I saw with my own two eyes in the front row of Section 110, I'm going to talk about two things. That coach from Houston is classless for even mentioning that we pipe in extra noise. What a clown. I'd be embarrassed if my coach said that. I really would. I wish I had videoed the opposing fans, especially the band, the Cougar band, when they were cheering their team on, how loud it is in that stadium. And if he didn't equivocally say, someone told me wrong, he's a clown, straight up. Now, let's talk about the fans booing DeAdrian Taylor while he's on the field, down on the field. You're better than that, Houston. You always tell everybody that you're that. You tell people that Houston's classless. Dallas is classless. Those guys, they're classless up there in Dallas. Yet you booed our guy on our field who was down. I sit right behind the defensive bench. He was getting worked on for a lot. You showed a lack of class, and you should be embarrassed for yourselves. His name is DeAdrian Taylor, and he got back into the game after about a series or two. Yeah, and he was still limping after the game and during all those series. He warriored through it. You should be embarrassed for yourself. Now let's go back to the game. Like I said, there's no joy in Mudville. The Roadrunners were up 21-14, 21-7. What did they do to lose the game? I'll tell you what they did to lose the game. They started throwing those deep slants that take a lot of time of blocking. Now, why did we keep going to them? I have no idea. Because when we were throwing it short, in the middle, in towards the middle field of the play, we had a lot of success. Sakari dropped some balls. That didn't help. I'm not going to run them down. Players drop ball. It's hard playing the game of football. So this isn't about straight up execution and being on top of everything. No, it's not. Because I'm sure Houston dropped some balls. I know they did. They made some great plays to win the game. They did. That quarterback, man, when he flipped over, jumped up over, yeah, that was a great play. When they're tight, I believe it was their tight end, caught that touchdown. That was a great play. You got to give it to them. It was a great play. They went and won the game with those plays. The other way I think our Roadrunners didn't help themselves was it didn't look like anybody spied Toon, the quarterback. There was one time I said, he's going to run it. It's spread. He's going to run it. Sure enough, ran it straight in. Nobody looking at him. Now, maybe we couldn't because our defense dictated trying to cover their wide receivers. Now, maybe that's what happened. But at the end of the day, we didn't cover and spy him, and that hurt. That hurt a lot. And they took advantage of it. Give it to them. They're a top 25 team. And we took them 3 overtimes. Now, at the end of the day, if you're a Roadrunners fan, I'm going to go a little deeper, but I'm going to say right now, the Roadrunners fan, how do you feel? Do you feel great? Shouldn't feel great. I don't think you should feel great. I think you should feel like satisfied, knowing that Trailer's the guy. Trailer's got the guys going in the right direction. This was a tough game. We're not going to sneak up on anybody. I told y'all that earlier. I told y'all, be prepared for 1 and 3. And I'm not talking to the players, because players prepare for tomorrow's game, today's game, the current game. That's what they prepare for, the current game. So it depends on when I'm talking, right? But for us as fans, we worry about all 12 games. If we leave conference play 1 and 3, and we play this way against Army, we play this way against Texas, this way against TSU, Texas Southern, I think we should all be happy. because it's been a long time since both sides of the ball has actually played good football together. It really has. They did it in 2020. They did it in 2021. They've done it so far in 2022, right? There's many times I know if you're in the stadium, you're like, why are we putting our defense back on the field? So all we've got to do is protect the defense. Like I said in my first video about the rotation and how do we fix that, I think we did okay. I don't think I saw anything to where McDougall replacing Jalen Haynes for the nose tackle position was a big drop down. I'm a big fan of Jalen Haynes, so I'm not dogging Jalen Haynes and I'm not saying McDougall is Jalen Haynes. So it's just one of those things. I think that we've got the guys that have grown into their position, and we are going to make some noise in Conference USA. We have to, though. We have to prove it. We're not going to sneak up on anybody. Before the game, this is great. And this is why I mentioned Dadrian Taylor. I sit right there by the defensive huddle. I've got a video that I'm going to put on here that you might see before where he got his turnover, doing the turnover triangle, right? The triangle of toughness. And I yelled, Dadrian, you're going to get you one. It's your day to get you one. You got him one. And I said, I told you you're going to get you one. He looked up at me, gave me props because I'm up to his, when he sits on the bench, I'm up to his right. I'm in the first row. I told McDougall, you're going to get you two. I believe he got himself 2 sacks. I don't look at the stats. But I know he came off the field during sack times all excited. So it may have been 1.5. You know how they do things, right? So I really pumped those guys up. That's why when I saw number 7 defense on the carpet laying down the way he was, and I heard the Houston fans booing, it upset me. It upset me a lot. Because that's like my guy. I've picked him. I picked him last year. I'm going to pick him this year. He and McDougall, I don't know exactly how you pronounce the name. It's spelled Dougle, right? So it could be McDougall, whatever. And of course, Corey Mayfield's now number 2, which means he's one of the captains, triangle toughness. So he's going to always be a fan favorite of mine. I'm going to always pump him up. I'm gonna pump so much sunshine up those 3 guys. I will personally will them to being NFL players. Okay, yeah, I might be stretched a little bit, but I'm gonna do my best. Trust me on this, right? Stretching as far as my effort. I know they're gonna put in the effort, but I got to put in that extra effort for them also, right? I think they might outlast me. My voice is killing me from cheering that team on. That stadium is loud. And this is what I want to tell every Roadrunner out there. Show up, buy the $10 ticket. Show up, find a place to sit, and be noisy. We have a distinct home field advantage. How many false starts did that Cougar offensive line have? They had a lot. I think they had probably 5 that I remember. That's a lot. And it's all because of us. And more importantly, students. I'm gonna actually run the students down. You shouldn't need to be told to be loud. You should be loud automatically when those opposing team's offense is inside the 25-yard line on your side of the field. It should just be so loud. It's not even correct. There's no downtime. None. It should be so much noise. You should be making so much noise. Us old guys and all the Payne fans on the opposite side, we embarrass you. I'm calling you out. I want you to see this. I want somebody to share this with the UTSA student body. I'm calling you out. You're not loud enough. They have student sections. You're not loud enough. Anyway, let's go back to the game. I still love you guys because you're Roadrunners. You're going to be alumni soon. That's fine. It's just a little competition. That's all. Let's go back to the game. So I don't know if we're missing a running back or our offensive line or our blocking scheme, but our running game, I don't want to say struggled, but it didn't feel like we had RB1, right? It didn't feel like we had that guy like we've had for 2 years. Brendan Brady played hard. Traylon Smith played hard. But they worked for their yardage to get what they got. So I'm going to think that we've got a new offensive coordinator, so things are a little different, right? So that's going to make me weight on my assessment. I felt blocking in the passing game was fine. I felt like we did have to move a little faster, but our offense understands that. Our offensive scheme understands we have to move faster. Now, defensively, it didn't feel like we missed tackles. It didn't feel like we missed assignments. They had the one guy that was wide open, and that happens, right? So maybe we missed the assignment there. That was on the end zone on my end, and he was wide open. It was disappointing to see. But I felt like we stayed with them. And this is what's got me pumped up. We legit could be 1-3 going into 8 games and end up, what? We could end up being 8-3. We didn't be in 7-4. 7-5, sorry. 1-3. We didn't. Man, my math is killing me, man. What's going on here? 1-3 out of conference. 8-4. We can end up being 8-4. I'm sorry, guys. I got 10 team figures, 10 toes. Getting to 12 is kind of hard. I made that joke in the last video. But anyway, we could be 8-4 and playing for a conference title. It's on the table. Got to prove it. Straight up, got to prove it. UNT is going to be ready for us. UAB is going to be ready for us, right? Western Kentucky's going to be ready for us. They really are. Now, I say this because if Houston is a top 25 team, we played like a top 25 team. We didn't surprise them. There wasn't anything that they did that made it to where we looked better than what we did. If anything, we dropped more passes than they dropped. We did. We dropped a lot. We missed a lot of passes. So, we're a good football team. But at the end of the day, what matters the most? Do out-of-conference games matter? No. Losing's terrible. Losing feels terrible. But what matters the most is in conference and winning conference championships. I'll say it again. Everyone can say we're in the worst conference ever. As long as we win it, that's all that matters. You don't want to be in the best conference and be terrible, because that doesn't matter at all. You're still in the worst conference and you're terrible. Best conference and you're terrible. You want to be in the worst conference and be good, because you got a chance of beating that Vanderbilt. You know who I'm talking about, right? Y'all watch football, after all. I mean, come on. Illinois, Minnesota, Rutgers. I mean, I know teams go up and down, but you'd rather be the best team in a bad conference with a chance to beat their worst team than the worst team with a chance to lose to a team in a bad conference. Absolutely, 100% of the time. Nothing more miserable than playing down to your opponent and losing to your opponent. Congrats to the Cougars. Y'all, the Cougars played a great game. They came back. They fought back. They had a chance, and they grabbed it. They seized it, and they won. I got nothing against Houston Cougars. I got nothing against my Cougar friends. I live in Houston. Love Houston. But that was pretty bad job booing. Take the loss on that. And tell your coach, take the loss on the piped-in music or whatever he said. That's an L. Come on. Anyway, I'll see you guys before the Army game. I'm going to do a video before the Army game, and I'll see you guys after the Army game. I'll give my take on that. I'm not going to West Point. I mean, that's a long fly, so I'm not going to do it. Anyway, guys, stay safe. Birds up. Boom!